would walk 10 miles on my hands and knees. Ain't no doubt about it.
The fabulous Thunderbirds, welcome back to the Vantage Point. On with me, rolling with the Mossberg Defender, Popeye from FederalJack.com. He does a great radio show on Orion Radio Network. Of course, Jimmy X, shout out to him. The name of the show is called, damn it, I just had a mind fart at the same second. Down the Rabbit Hole. And that's, what's that, 4 to 6 Central there, Popeye?
Yeah, it's 4 to 6 Central, 5 to 7 Eastern Standard. And, I pretty much just cover topics that some other maybe hosts cover, but I also go into a little more depth into things. And I do cover certain things that nobody wants to touch. But that's what my show's about. I'm not afraid to talk about them.
Oh, excellent. Well, I went and did a quick search, and this tells you how long I've been look at this material. August 3rd, 2006, Las Vegas City sued over "Don't Feed the Homeless" law. They actually had signs out in Las Vegas, "Don't feed the homeless," like they're bears, like it's like Yogi Bear and Boo Boo.
Right? Don't feed the homeless; they might bite you.
Yeah, they're mean people. They're mean-spirited. They're angry. They're like homeless.
I can tell you from my own experience, Mike. I mean, seriously watching how people treat the homeless is appalling. Like, I used to live in South Beach for about 5 years, and now, yeah, some of the homeless can get to be a pain in the butt. Always begging for change and everything else. Yes, the ones that are drunks and sitting around because they're just high and everything else. Yeah, I can understand. But just in general, the way people would look at them and almost like they didn't exist. And I used to say, wow, look at these people. It's like, one of them could be laying in the street bleeding, which many times
in the gutter, on the ground,
and
right?
they'll just step over them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, ooh, I don't want to touch it, like it's a dead rat or something. And it's a fellow human being. You don't even want to, I would walk over and I would nudge them with my leg, maybe feel the pulse. Okay, they're alive. If they were bloody, I would make sure I wouldn't touch the blood, obviously, but I would at least make sure they were okay. I also always carry at least one pair of rubber gloves on me just in case I ever come across a situation where something like that happens. It just comes, I was a fireman for a long time, so kind of, an old habit. But I would make sure that the person was okay. There are plenty of times I would find one of them got beat up by, a couple drunk guys, and I would sit him down. I used to run a tattoo shop, so I would sit him down outside, get some cleaning stuff, come outside, clean him up a little bit. And one time I called the ambulance. I made him go to the VA hospital because I knew the guy was a vet and I knew he had the coverage. I made him go because these guys had worked him over and they beat the crap out of him. He was, pretty badly bruised. Now, most people, honestly, there were people crossing the street to not deal with that.
Yeah.
Now, I understand you don't want to get involved in things because you don't want to get sued or anything else. But people, we've lost our humanity.
Oh,
we really have.
Some of them just act like some of them not the homeless, but some of them act like degenerate scum, where they can see a human being, same flesh and blood as you and I, and look at them and go, ooh, and walk away. Like, sometimes we have panhandlers and such, over by the malls, and they'll be in a parking area over by the mall panhandling, or off by the lights, the sort of, stoplights, whatnot. And they'll go back and forth and say, hey, I could use this, that, and the other. And then some people give them money. And it's funny because you can see the people rolling up their windows, locking the doors, like they're just going to attack them and suck their blood dry.
I watched a homeless guy get hit in South Beach. I watched him get hit by a car. These people were driving up, and they had seen a parking spot. They threw their car in reverse, didn't even look, and just stepped on it. And he had been walking across the street, towards me. And as he was coming across, they just hit him. They had to be going I don't know. You can't go super fast in reverse, but they had to be going 10 miles an hour, maybe 12 miles an hour. And they hit him pretty hard. They knocked him right to the ground. I ran over. I grabbed him. I assessed him. I picked him up and we dragged him over. I had a bench in front of my shop, and we dragged him over to the bench. And he's like, no, I'll be fine. And his knee was all jacked up. And he's like, I'll be fine. He's bleeding. He's like, I'll walk it off. And I'm like, no, man, relax. We'll call an ambulance. We'll have them come look at you. You know, the ambulance came and they looked at him. But the people that hit him wanted to leave. They were trying to get in their car and go, and I stood in front of their car. I was like, hang on. I made one of the tattoo artists that was working hang out with the guy, and I ran out into the street and blocked the car. And I said, where do you think you're going? And the guy's like, he looked at me and he said, well, he's homeless. I swear to God, he's homeless. God. And I was like, that doesn't mean anything, you scumbag. I was like, if you leave, I swear to God, I will call the police and I will have you hunted down for running this guy over and leaving the scene of an accident. And I freaked them out, and they ended up staying. And then the cops showed up, and the cops were going to, issue the woman a ticket and go after her. But the homeless guy goes, no, it was my mistake. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cause a problem. I know they're tourists. Because he didn't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
This guy just got run over, and he's not trying to go to jail.
He's trying to diffuse the situation just because, like you said, I mean, a lot of people, if you're homeless, they look at you as being less than human, and they don't want to deal with you, whether you're there.
The cop didn't even give the guy a ticket because he goes, well, yeah, he just hit a homeless person, so whatever.
Yeah, whatever. They're not human. They don't have souls.
That's the cop.
Yeah.
Well, this is the same police department that killed that guy in a hail of gunfire last weekend, so.
I don't know what it is that, like I said, they've, lost their humanity, lost their ability to look at people. I've been writing about this extensively, about how people immerse themselves in technology, and they no longer have face-to-face eye contact with people anymore. I give a lot of eye contact to people, and you see their eyes go like shifting away, like they don't want to connect with you, and they would rather send you a message on like text message or voicemail than actually meet you in person. I mean, I don't know where the hell we're going with the sort of new forms of technology and the new forms of sort of social networking, where it's no longer human networking. It disgusts me because people are no longer really people. They're obsessed with their own little things. They're looking for extra little distractions so they can forget about their lives. They're popping pills. And they're essentially just worthless, man.
Bro, do you see anybody going out on Halloween anymore? I don't see kids trick-or-treating. When I was a kid, I remember the streets would be filled with kids running around in leaf piles, dressed in
costumes. Free candy.
Yeah.
Free candy
now,
for kids.
You see maybe 15, 20 kids walking around trick-or-treating. And most of them have cell phones. They're busy texting each other. They're not even looking at each other. They're having a conversation with the guy next to them, but they're not talking. They're just texting to one another. I mean, it's ridiculous. When I was a kid, I remember if a cop shot somebody, I had a lot of cops that were friends. I was a firefighter. I remember cops didn't want to shoot people because they had to do so much paperwork.
Yeah.
And a lot of times then they get pulled off the street for days. Now, cops, they want to shoot people. They run around like it's a video game.
So they're all pumped up on damn steroids and pain pills and... I remember my local cops, man. I mean, they knew the neighborhood, they knew everybody, they were helpful and friendly. I asked the cop a while back. I was in town, I wasn't familiar with. I said, how do you get to so and so? He looked at me like, do I look like 401? Like, you fucking dick, man.
Well, dude, it's I agree 100%. When I was a kid, I got in trouble doing stuff, lighting off fireworks or whatever in the park. And the cops, when I was a kid, the detectives and all these guys, they knew my family. My mom had worked for the town. My father was on the fire department. They knew me. They wouldn't arrest me. They took me home. In fact, I begged to go to jail because I knew going home was a fate worse than death. Okay? Nowadays, it's all mixed up. Nowadays, the parents don't discipline their kids. They call the police and let the cops take them to jail to get the kid in the system.
Hey, hang right there. We're coming to a quick break. Stay tuned, back with Popeye from Federal Jack.